Hello, it's Nicole Ron again. I have a little fun thing to share with you today. I promised that I would share new moon manifesting rituals. So if you are excited about that, I'm excited to share it with you. Here we go. Okay, so some tools that I have are my Emotions and Essential Oils book. I have my essential oils, and then I have some notes. Okay, so, all right. And if you are listening to the sound of my voice, just listening to the protocol can help cause a shift. And then when you get to a place where you have your oils, you are more than welcome to put those oils on and enjoy the benefits. I also want to show you, for those watching the video, not just listening to the audio, this is the very blurry diagram of the foot, and we're going to be working on the reflex points to the spine. There are points that correspond to different parts of our spinal cord that also correspond to the chakras, and also different areas where we receive insights and breakthrough challenges and blocks. And so I'm excited to share that with you. This is from my Flowology course written by Janet Marquez, and I use this as a tool quite often. All right, so when you are doing any kind of manifesting, whether it is in the a time of a full moon or a new moon, a lot of times full moons are when you want to release things, and then new moons are when you want to bring new things in and manifest, but sometimes you would use it in a different way. Or if you don't resonate at all with the moon or recognize that you do at all, it's okay. It doesn't have to be done at the time of a new moon or a full moon or any sort of phase of the moon. You can do this anytime. And for people who are like, what the heck is manifesting? And you resonate more with words like pray and ask, for guidance, or you want to work on a goal, whatever terminology you like, this works for all of it. So, in any time that you want to bring something new into your life, before you can bring in something new, you release something, you let go of something. Because the question that I always like to ask is, what do I want to experience less of, and what do I want to experience more of? If I was 100% content with the status quo and how things were, and I was convinced that I didn't need to grow, change, shift, up level, ask for anything else, I had everything I needed, I could probably just transition and go home. And I wouldn't have any more work to do, right? So we all have things we're working through, we're working on, where we want to constantly be in a healthier place, a more loving place, a more abundant place, a place of less fear, a place of less scarcity, a place of less grind and hustle. Being in alignment is replacing all of that hustle terminology, thank goodness, because I so never resonated with the hustle or the grind word. It just wasn't, it's not me. So I'm really grateful that we're giving that up and shifting into a place of alignment, which to me makes so much more sense. When I am in the flow, when I'm connected to the Holy Spirit, I hear and receive those messages of go here, do this, talk to this person, serve in this way, protect your energy here, say no to that, say yes to that. All of those kinds of things come very naturally. So I don't have to force anything or hustle for it or prove my worthiness or any of those things that hustle kind of connotes for me. And I just love walking in alignment. And I've had so many instances in my life. One that's coming to mind to share with you as I hustled for this job. I was 18 years old. I moved to Hawaii with $800 in a backpack and a lot of prayer from my mom, I'm sure. And I just knew that I needed to go there. There was something there I needed to learn, something I needed to release, and something that I needed it to be quiet and I needed to hear the voice of spirit and just connect in and remove all the clutter of my life and get really clear on who I was, independent of friends, hometown, family of origin stuff. Is who am I? What am I on this planet for? And what is that going to look like moving forward into adulthood? And so I kind of had this idea that I wanted to work at this gym, and I thought, oh, this will be great. I can work there, get in shape, have income. It's close to my house in Kihei, and I can easily walk there. So it's perfect, right? So I called every single day. I dropped off, application and resume. I just checking back to see if you're hiring. After I think it was only maybe a week of that, they were like, oh, we'll just make a job for you. You clearly want this job. So I got the job. And then I also, I worked there for a week. Within that week, I was on the other side of the island, totally far away from where I lived in Paia. So it's like the kidney bean shape of Maui. It's like on the other side of the island. And I was over there sightseeing, and I look up the driver of the car that I was with. He stopped at this little store, and I was just hanging out in the car. And I looked up and I saw this help wanted sign, and Spirit instantly said, go in there and get an application. And I didn't argue. I went in and got an application, and I thought, that's so weird because I don't live over here. This isn't, I have a job. I just got a job, but I did it, and I trusted. And then I, came back a few days later, turned in my application, interviewed, and got that job. So I was like, well, it was just for Saturdays at that point. So I thought, okay, I'll work at the gym, and then I'll work Saturday over here. Well, within a couple of weeks, some shit hit the fan where I was staying. It became a very unsafe situation, and I needed to move from Kihei to Paia, where I had one person I knew in the whole world on that island, and stayed with her for a week while I found a house over in Paia. And I already had a job, and then lo and behold, that job needed me to move to 4 days a week. And so I had to call that gym and say, I'm so sorry, situation changed, and I can't keep this job, because I had no way to get back and forth. And it didn't feel safe for me to be in Kihei at that time. So it was like this total weird thing, but it was just one of the many instances I can pull from in my life where, yes, you can hustle and get a job, but is it in alignment? That go in there, get that application, turn it in, ended up leading me to what I needed down the road. Whereas I only had the foresight to see, with my hustle situation, how great working at that gym would be. And incidentally, I had a coworker that almost let me drown when we were swimming in the ocean, because she didn't want to touch my boobs, and we were swimming in the ocean topless. So that's a fun trivia fact about me. But the people at that gym were clearly not good friends. And then the job over in Paia ended up being a wonderful thing, and I made a lot of great friends from that situation, and I felt a lot safer, and I had a much better situation. So all that to say, Align is definitely much more important to me than hustling ever could be. So when you're wanting to bring forward that kind of life where your family relationships, what you do at home, how you interact with any kids that you have, or a partner that you may be with, or say you're single and you just want your life to be in alignment. You want to be in flow, not that you're constantly having to force situations or force things to happen. You've probably gotten tired of that too, and you want to bring in some new things, and so you're prayerfully considering what those things are. Let me give you some oil suggestions to help with that. So whenever you ask the concept of asking in belief is that I believe that I already have it. So whether you resonate more with law of attraction and you you visualize that you already have the thing that you're asking for, or you resonate with scripture and that, you know, ask, seek, knock model where you ask and you believe and you don't doubt, it's the same. It's just different language and maybe a different context that would resonate better with different folks. So I love how they work really well together. And I have a podcast episode about a life of miracles where I go into a whole protocol about manifesting, that if you really want to deep dive into this, and I share scripture, law of attraction, all of it in there. But this is just a little juicy thing you can do easily, quickly, as you get into that space or that vibration of, I already have what I'm asking for. It's a matter of time. And then I tell my friends and my clients too, it's this thing that I can imagine or something better. So I knew I needed a job. And what the biggest thing I could imagine was that gym. And then, but the caveat is always this or something better. Well, then that job at the sarong shop in Paia was the something better. And so we never like have a tight grip on what it has to look like. We have an idea of like, I trust that my vision is like maybe only this much, but source, God, love, universe, whatever you like to say, for me, Holy Spirit, this bird's eye view is so much more infinite, and the intention is always love towards me. So of course I want the something better if the thing that I can imagine isn't for my highest and best. And then the other concept is, if I have the attitude that nothing ever works out for me, then nothing ever will work out for me. But I have always had the attitude that everything always works out for me. You know, you can go into my family of origin stories. I could share with you. I could share, you know, times when my husband and I were, you know, living on part-time pay, doing full-time work in ministry, and all the things that were provided for us. Situations like in that Hawaii story I told you, the very unsafe, dangerous situation, being miraculously given the strength and the support from the inside and without to navigate that situation in a safe way. I'm still here, and so many more things. Okay, so everything always works out for me. I don't have to talk myself into believing that. I know that it's true. But if you're in this space where maybe things aren't working out for you and you feel like everything you do is pushing that boulder up the hill all by yourself, and you haven't quite made any momentum, you know, you could ask, am I going the right direction? Or is this like birth and I've got that baby's head down and it's going under the pubic bone and I just hang in there just a little bit longer and I'm ready to birth that masterpiece? And you'll know what the difference is. You'll know when it's like, if I just keep bearing down on this and pushing it through, it will be birthed into fruition like the baby. Or if you're like, I'm just beating my head up against every brick wall, maybe I could turn around and walk in the other direction and stop fighting source, stop fighting unconditional love, and go in the direction of flow. You'll know the difference, and you'll learn to discern the difference. So you want to make sure that even if things feel like they don't ever work out for you, that you shift your thinking and you come back to center. Like if I notice I'm over here, I bring myself back to here. If I start thinking, this is too hard, or this isn't going to work, bring yourself back. Everything always works out for me. I am provided for. I am divinely guided. I am unconditionally loved. I am supported by God, you know, Holy Spirit, angels, guides, whatever you call on that's important to you. And then I have people in my life that are in all over the board there. So this works for everybody. And it's really fun to see evidence, and you gather evidence. You find pennies on the ground, you pick them up. You are looking for a pen, you need a pen, you find a pen, you write it down. Write down all the evidences of all the things that show up for you when you trust that everything always works out for me. And then you have gratitude for all of those things, big and small. And you stay in that space of gratitude, constantly looking for the evidence, writing it down, and then giving thanks. And that will get you in the flow of, my prayers are always answered. Everything always works out for me. This or something better. I trust the process. And you speak these truths over yourself and over your situation, and then you watch them come to fruition, and it's super fun. And your whole entire life is like this scavenger hunt of goodness, and this just this beautiful, quest for evidence of God's love. And it is the most amazing way to live. And every hummingbird, every sunset, every rainbow, even for me, every wasp, every time I see a wasp, I looked up what the animal medicine of a wasp is, and it was so meaningful to me at this time when I kept seeing wasps. And like, I'm allergic to bees, but something told me, like, don't swash this away, figure out what it means. And the significance of that was so beautiful, and I took that as a message of love. Learn to see everything as a message of love. If you've got somebody in your life that you think is important and they break up with you, or they quit hanging out with you, or you lose a job, or you get a flat tire, look for the goodness in that situation. Look for what you're being delivered from and what is opening up in your life and being cleared. That space is being cleared to receive the next level of blessing. And maybe you couldn't have had the friendships that you're praying for if you were constantly spending all your time with certain people who are constantly dragging down your energy, or negative, or comparing, or competing, or just not for your highest and best. You love them, you wish them well, you thank them for the lessons, but now you've got this space for this whole entire tribe of sisters and brothers that are much more in alignment with where you're going in the future. Or if it's a romantic partnership, that can really hurt and be devastating to you and any children you may have. But then at the end of the day, were they gonna be one to support you and walk with you on the next leg of your journey? Especially if you have kids, thank them for the children that you had together and for all the life lessons, and heal and forgive from any trauma, and then carry that generational wisdom moving forward into your next partnerships. Same with jobs. Maybe what you've been praying for and asking for, you can't do or have or receive because you're constantly working at this job that's not in alignment with where you're headed in the future. Okay, so all that to say, let's get to the protocol. Okay, so we're gonna pull some oils, and again, let me show you this point again. If you are listening to the audio of this on my podcast, I will post a picture of this in my Nicole Ronigan Wellness Instagram and Facebook page, and you can find it there. Or the Essential Nicole Facebook page as well is the podcast page. So any of those places, I'll put it there because I'm going to be sharing this in several places. Okay, so the first oil is black pepper. And black pepper in this case, and I'm taking this from the Emotions and Essential Oils book. In the back of the book, there's a list of the essential oil, the negative properties, and the positive properties. So what we're shifting from and what we're shifting to. And I muscle tested, and pepper was going to help us shift from hiding to being honest. And it's the oil of unveiling or unmasking, I believe. And we're going to put it right on our reflex point of our spine. It's directly below that ankle bone. Yeah, it's the oil of unmasking. And so if you're looking on my foot, this here. It's just right below this bone here, and it's along the spinal points. So sorry, that's probably not very steady camera work there, but we're going to put the oil there on that point, and then you can just either sit there with the oil on the point and breathe in and say, I forgive you for, and then anything that comes to your mind around hiding and not being able to feel honest. And for this treatment, it's in our relationship with our spiritual source. So whether you see that as God, or you like the word source energy, or you like spirit, universe, you connect in, and there's no judgment either way. To me, it's pretty much all the same thing. It's as big as you can imagine, and we use the term that's the least triggering to us. So we put the black pepper right on both feet on that reflex point, and you can breathe in and out. So the breathing in would be, I forgive you for. And then when you're ready to release that breath, you say, please forgive me for. So any times or instances or situations where you felt you had to hide from the divine or hide a part of yourself, and then the idea is that we're going to shift to be more honest. And what comes up for me around this, and this hopefully will mean something to you as well, is that sometimes we think we have to hide our negative emotions or our big passionate feelings, our F words, our bang the door, slam the door kind of moments from the divine, like unconditional love can't see and feel and hear all the things that go on in and through us. I mean, that creation source energy is in every empty space in our cells. It's what holds all of us and everything around us together. And it's the binding, if you will, of all of the elements together. It's how we're all quantumly entangled. It's how I can be doing this treatment here on this video, and then you can be watching it later today or in 5 years, and it can still minister to you because we're all connected. And it's that unconditional love or that source energy, that creation energy that keeps us together. So we can't hide from any of it. We can't have a negative experience or what we perceive is negative. Really, it's a cleansing, it's a healing, it's a fire element experience, because sometimes things need to be burned down before they can be regrown or rebuilt. Think forest fires. That fire has to come and clear the path, and then new growth can come. And we think that we have to hide that or judge that, or that we are somehow less worthy of love or less lovable or less accepted for having those moments. But really, those moments are shared humanity. And for me, I really love looking at who Jesus was and how Jesus lived and interacted and showed us a glimpse of the divine as he walked the planet. And he had human emotions. All the saints, all the apostles had human emotions. All the gods and goddesses, like, they have human emotions, right? It's what we do with those things that matters. And so we don't have to hide from that source of unconditional love that already knows us, that holds us together. We can be honest. So that black pepper shifts that. So then we're going to put cassia, and cassia is a hot kind of cinnamon-like oil. And so you want to make sure you don't rub your eyes or any sensitive places. And that also, if you need to dilute with some coconut oil, you can. Although I haven't really found it to be too hot. For me, it is. But we're just going to move down that spine point, just 2 finger spaces, and set some, just a little bit goes a long way. So I literally just get like a little half part of a drop on one finger, rub my fingers together, and then put it on that spot. And you can just breathe, hold that point and just breathe in I forgive you for. And then anytime we felt timid, and then we're going to release that and shift to feeling valued. So anytime like we felt timid coming to God or coming forward with our ask in prayer, to feeling so valued that what we have to say matters, what we're asking for is important. I've asked for such simple things. When I had a job in an office, I had this intense chocolate craving one day, and I went out to lunch and I wanted chocolate, but all they had were chocolate cookies, and I was trying to avoid gluten, and so I went back to work and I didn't have any chocolate. And I kid you not, one of my coworkers came behind me and handed me this king-size candy bar and was like, I got this for you. And I was like, oh my God. Like, things like that happen to me a lot. And sometimes the tendency is to think like, if it's not like rent check or healing for somebody or something really big, that like we can't ask for it, but we can ask for anything. And there's so much love and so much abundance in the heart of God towards us that that I think that the divine is just waiting for us to ask, so that the coworker or the whatever can just hand you the thing that they were inspired to get, to give you, and be those hands and feet of love in the world. So yeah, your ask has value, and you can decide not to be timid about asking. So that's going to go on that reflex point just directly below. And it would be number 2 for people looking at the picture just right there. So this is that whole spinal point. And then the third one is Douglas fir. Douglas fir is my favorite for sequential action and patterns, and I see things in patterns, and so it's such a meaningful oil for me, like especially when I get bogged down by trying to focus on the minutia, because I'm such a big picture person. When I try to actually do the minutia, Douglas fir right on the back of my brainstem here will help me go, okay, first do this, now do this, now do this. It also helps me see generational patterns. And for this particular protocol, we're going to shift from this being a generational pattern that's been passed down through our epigenetics, through our family lineage, and shifting that to a space of generational healing. So we're going to put that on that third reflex point, and this is kind of like just that arch of your foot along that spinal point. And then when we breathe in, we're going to forgive any generational patterns, like my mom always did this, my grandma always did this, my grandpa always did this, like those kind of things, to we're going to heal the generations going backwards and moving forward. This cycle breaks with us. We're going to heal it. So we're going to forgive, and then we're going to ask for forgiveness, and then we're going to receive that forgiveness. If you really want to pull that up and in, you can squeeze your sex organs, squeeze your pelvic floor, and imagine it coming up and in just every cell of your body, and then radiating out around your aura, or your energetic field, however you like to call it, and just cleansing every cell and shifting. If it's like it was this way, now it's flipped this way. It was going to be a generational pattern that had to keep perpetuating. Now it's generational healing. Awesome. Okay, so then the next one is Yarrow Palm. I love Yarrow Palm. It helps, it's an amazing protection oil. Yes, it makes you look younger if you put it on your skin. It helps balance your hormonal stuff. You take it internally. It's like great for fat release, all that stuff. But for me, I love it, especially over my heart space, for protection when I'm feeling very heavily attacked, and I need to know that all my angels, all my guardians are with me and protecting me, and that there's more with me than there are with them, if you know what I'm saying. So this is going to go on that 4th point, which is right here on my foot before the bump. The bump is next. So I'm putting it there. And it's kind of blue, which is fun. It has chamazoline, which is why it's so good for our skin. Same with blue tansy. They're those blue oils. Deep blue has blue tansy, and so does Balance. But this is yarrow palm, totally different plant, but it's still blue, and they're great for your skin. And so this is for where we feel energetically weakened, and we're shifting that to feeling protected. So this is for those times when we have felt like just the time we start to have happiness or joy or about to get what we want, something comes and like there's a, the dishwasher breaks or the car breaks down or we get a flat tire or get an unexpected bill, and it pulls our energy back down into a place of disbelief, and we say, see, and we build evidence to say, God doesn't care about me, good things don't happen to me. This is going to really protect that space, because as this energy is moving up from a place of unbelief, this makes me want to cry, hiding, being timid, having generational patterns, especially around wealth and abundance and provision, and we start to build evidence and build faith that we can be energetically weakened and by those life blows that happen. And instead of looking for the blessing, instead of looking for the provision, I could never see the hand of God providing for me if I didn't have need. And so I could have looked at that situation in Hawaii and said, oh, see, I'm not protected. This person was dangerous towards me. But instead, I saw how I was basically just uprooted and transplanted over here into this pot that was already prepared for me on the other side of the island. And I was surrounded with support on that side of the island. Over here, I was alone and unprotected, it felt like. And then over here, I was protected and supported. If I didn't have that need, if that thing never happened with that unsafe person, I would have never have been transplanted over here, and I would have never known how loved and supported and provided for I truly am. So when the car breaks down, when the dishwasher breaks, when the shit hits the fan in a relationship, instead of using it as evidence over here to say how, oh, see, nothing ever works out for me, hold it with an open hand, lay it down before God, source, spirit, unconditional love, whatever you like to say. Lay it down at the feet of God and say, I need you to show me your love, your provision, your protection, your guidance, your safety. I need to see, I need to feel my angels. I need to feel support. I need my friends to call me. I need to feel prayers. I need to be buoyed up here. And watch, build evidence that you are supported, you are protected, you are provided for. Build evidence for that. So this is that place where the temptation would be to just let it weaken you energetically, but we're going to shift that into a space of being protected and feeling and knowing in every fiber of your being that you are protected. And that those things that seem to be for your harm were actually for your good, and they are helping you build evidence and build faith. Because you can't walk a life of faith and look for and expect miracles if you never need any miracles. So it can feel like a roller coaster, but just like everything in life, everything's a vibration. Everything has an up cycle and a down cycle. Everything has a negative and a positive. And we just ride that wave. We build evidence for faith, and we stay connected to our spiritual source doing that. And every time we feel disconnected and tempted to not believe, we connect back in and we say, I believe, help my unbelief. So our next oil is basil, for when you just feel tired. You've been treading water for so long, and you feel dependent. You feel dependent on circumstances. You feel dependent on people in your life that maybe aren't dependable. And you want to feel rested. You want to. There we go. Had a phone call come through. Okay, so Let's make sure my audio is working. Basil is going to be on that bump on the side of your big toe. So this bump right here, and you're going to put it on both parts and then breathe in. If we didn't do the breathing in and out part on the last one, I apologize. The intention is there, so go ahead and do it. We're going to put that basil there, and it's going to shift us from feeling dependent to feeling rested. So feeling dependent feels kind of needy, it feels vulnerable, and it feels like if they don't come through, I won't be taken care of. Or if all the ducks don't line up in a row on the pond, then I'm not going to be taken care of. And we all know that not only are there no ducks, there is no pond, and they're never going to line up. We can't always depend on circumstances to be just so, to have that inner peace. We want to move from a space of having our peace be dependent on external circumstances and people and things all lining up, to internal peace where it passes all understanding, right? And then it can't be shaken because our peace is in our connection to our spiritual source and to our creator. So we can rest in that. There's a rest for our souls in that. And basil helps us shift that. And, you know, on a physical level, if you have things like adrenal fatigue or thyroid issues or things that would cause you to feel physically tired, basil is a great support for that as well. So I love how the emotional and the physical components are so similar. I'm going to move through this a little more quickly. Bergamot is our next oil. It's going to help us. It's the oil of self-acceptance. We're going to put it right on the neck of our toe, so that side part of our toe. It is sun sensitive, so don't put bergamot on and then go sunbathing. But the side of your toe should be okay. Let's see. So in this instance, we're going to go from feeling unloved to feeling confident. And this is feeling unloved by God, or feeling like we don't fit into so-and-so's idea of spirituality or God, so God must not love us. That is total crap. Put out there by people who wanted to monetize and control people through God and their expression of faith and worship. And we don't have to buy into that. Everybody's loved, everybody gets in, everybody's in the club, because everybody is loved and created by our creator, and there is no exception to that. So you can put that away. Any belief or any words spoken over you that you were not enough, or that you weren't the right brand or the right type or the right fit, not true. And again, you can look at Jesus and see that everyone was welcomed in, no matter what. And the religious people always wanted to push people out, and Jesus always brought people in. And so you can trust that and move from a space of not only accepting yourself, but feeling loved by the divine and confident in that love. You are loved as you are. Not when you do this checklist of crap, not when you say a magical prayer, not when you belong to an organization, not when you adopt a creed or a dogma or a doctrine, as you are. So put some bergamot on the side of your toe. Breathe in, forgive any thoughts or teachings around that. And then as you release, forgive yourself for buying into that BS. And let it go. And then if you want to really bring that in, again, squeeze those sex organs, bring it up and out and around, and cleanse all of that. And then the next one is Immortelle. Let me get into my fancy case here. Immortelle is so good for anti-aging and skin stuff, but I love it for the emotional properties as well. And our last reflex point was the third eye point, and this is the crown chakra point, which is that where the connection, it's kind of like the open flower, the 1,000-point lotus. It's kind of like this channel or funnel of like divine messages in and out. And a lot of times, so in this instance, Immortelle is helping us switch from feeling spiritually disconnected to trust in the divine. Like I said, some of us were taught that we didn't have a spiritual connection, or our connection wasn't valid because it wasn't one particular way. And I'm here to tell you that's not true. I've met so many people who don't ascribe to the things that I used to believe and was taught that are the only way. And they have the same Holy Spirit that I do. They have that same connection to source and unconditional love that I do. And I've found it again and again and again, and you can trust it. You can trust that voice, that still small voice that says, go in there, get an application. Don't be afraid to ask for what you want or what you need. And so this is going to help us to clear away all the emotional, spiritual, energetic blocks to being afraid to ask because we don't trust that our things are valid or that God loves us or cares. And then we're going to be able to watch and build evidence that those miracles are coming our way. And when those things do come up, like the big needs do present themselves in the form of a dishwasher breaking or a tire popping or those kind of things, we'll use those to build evidence is that we are protected and provided for, rather than, see, nothing ever works for me. So again, black pepper, going from hiding to honest. Cassia, going from timid to knowing that we're valued. Douglas fir, breaking those generational patterns and turning them to generational healing. Yarrow palm, feeling energetically weakened to being protected. Basil, going from dependent to being rested. Bergamot, going from feeling unloved by God to being confident in God's love. And immortelle, feeling spiritually disconnected to being able to trust in the divine. So then kind of a fun thing to cover all those points, just go from 1 to 7 with black pepper. This is kind of a fun thing that came through for you and for me, is that we can shift from hiding to feeling courageous. So that courageous ask, like going boldly into that, the presence of the divine, which is in us and through us, right? We're already there, so we might as well make our bold ask courageously and watch those miracles manifest. So whether you do this at a full moon, a new moon, or just any time, you can do this in the morning. It might energize you if you do it at night, but go ahead and try it. There's nothing in here that's particularly invigorating, except for maybe the pepper and the cassia. You can try it and see. Do it in the morning, see how you feel, and then if you think you could probably go to bed after that, go for it. You can do it as many times as you want. You can share this with other people who you know in your life who would love the courage to ask for miracles. And my hope and my prayer is that we will all live lives in spiritual alignment, and it will affect the way that we do business, the way that we're in relationship with people, the way that we're in this world, with nature, with each other, that we'll live these lives of love, and that we will confidently know that we are loved and that we are love. And it will make a difference, one drop at a time. So thank you for allowing me to share this with you. Have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your experience today. And I would love to hear back from you how this worked for you. So you can email me at theessentialnicole@gmail.com or message me through Facebook or Instagram. It's Nicole Ronigan Wellness, either one. So have a wonderful day.